Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks, Stay the Hungry Gamer is back with another mini preview, and today we are talking about Assault on Doomrock Ultimate Edition! Now, the reason I'm doing a mini preview for this one is because, and it pains me to say this, because he might hear it, but Michael Kelly from One Stop Co-op Shop has a fantastic video, which you can check out down in the description, which teaches you how to play the game really clearly and really concisely. And I can't top it, so I'm not going to try, but I will give a quick overview of what's going to be happening. This is a game that takes place in 2 phases, and you're going to do each of those 2 phases 3 different times, assuming you don't die, which you will. But assuming you don't, you're going to do 3 adventure phases, and after each adventure phase, there will be a fight of progressively stronger minions or monsters or bosses, whatever. And to do this, you're going to be moving your party through cards that represent different areas, towns, all very tongue-in-cheek comedy and stuff going on. And what you're doing is you have a set amount of time, which is set up by your setting, to do stuff. And the stuff you're doing is, 1, you're trying to get silver, because every 4 silver you have, you can then do a camp action and upgrade your character. When you upgrade your character, you're going to get new cards. These cards are things you can use during combat. I'll talk about that in just a minute. And along with that will be the most important thing, more dice. The other thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be getting loot. As you're moving around through these different places, you'll be getting loot, which you'll maybe be able to use if you have the right kind of stats, which you're going to get from the cards, which you get by leveling up. And you're going to be getting exposure. I'll talk about exposure in a moment. And you're going to be getting shield and heroism and then exploring these areas. Each area is unique in that if you explore it, you're going to get something different. Maybe might even be a penalty. Who knows? And you'll be traveling along. There will always be 3 different cards. You can move back and forth between them. You can have the one further to the left go totally away and then flip out another one, etc., etc. However, when you run out of time, then you have a fight. And as you play through the game, there will be, as I said, 3 different fights you can deal with. And there are a bunch of different things that you might fight. In fact, I have them all, not true, all but one right here. And you can see, well, that wasn't a very exciting little riffle there, but you get the idea. This is a whole bunch of different things. And on each one, there is the setup card, like this, which is going to tell you how you set up your map. That one's kind of boring, so let me show you the Golem of Doom, which rocks. See what I did there? No? No? Okay. It gives you the setup, information, and then on the back of it, you have the way combat's going to work. Now, let's talk about how combat works. Combat in Assault on Doomrock is exceedingly abstracted. There are no minis. There's no battle mat, really. I mean, you can see on the screen right now, you can see the battle mat, but it's just a mat. And there are tokens representing the characters, and then minions and the boss. And then some terrain as well, but that's all you have. And either you are connected to another token out on the board, which means you are in a group, or you are not. And it's possible if your hero has there's more than double minions connected to a hero, then you're surrounded, and that's going to do things. You never want to be surrounded when you're fighting, but that's it. That's how that's going to work. And what's going to happen is you're going to roll all of your dice, and you're going to assign them to your cards. And there is a little Yahtzee style mechanic, so you can re-roll things up to twice and kind of pick what it is that you want to use. I'll also say every single character has some kind of trait, which can either be the cheater trait or the normal traits, which you have to use it every turn. If you don't use it, you're going to take an exposure. And the exposure is bad, because what happens is when a character gets exposure, the next time they get hit, all of them activate, which could do nothing. It could push you somewhere else. It could reshuffle all the exposure tokens. It could hurt you more. You just don't know what it's going to be. And then once you have assigned all of your stuff, you might have some ability to activate first, but then you're going to activate the bad guys. And every single hero is going to activate 2 or sometimes 3, sometimes 1, but usually 2 minions that are going to activate, and you're going to flip over a card, and that card is going to correlate to that specific AI for those minions, and they will do horrible, horrible things to you. If you're fighting a boss also, after all the minions have gone, then the boss gets to go. And then after all of that, if you are somehow not dead, then you get to do your other abilities and you rinse and repeat until you have taken them out. Now there's also terrain that you can add to the game, and there's always terrain out there. The question is, does it actually do anything? You can turn on the terrain expansion, and that will give you, again, just like the trait, if you use it, a good thing. If you don't use it, something bad. And as I said, if you can survive 3 different combats, you have won. But you didn't. You have died, because that's what happens in this game. So, what do I like about this game? First, I think the combat system is wonderful. It is unique, it is different, yet even though it is exceedingly abstracted, it has, to me, kind of a cinematic quality to it. There is just something so cool about being able to use your imagination and imagine what's going to be going on there based on what the abilities are. Because you're going to start with 2 abilities that are unique to you and very tied to the character you are, but then every time you level up, you're going to be just getting a random ability. Now, that's the next thing I really like. When you level up, you're going to draw 3 abilities, and it does a thing, and it has a stat that's on there. It has a trait on there, which will let you equip more gear and things like that, but you're going to draw 3, and then you can discard as many you want and draw again. So even though it is random what you're getting, you do have a fair amount of control over what it is that you're getting. I think that works really well. You get to kind of build your party in a way that where they complement each other. You're able to look at the gear that you have, say, ah, gosh, I need another strength trait to be able to use this thing. Oh, well, I didn't get any here, so I'm just going to discard these 3. I'm going to draw 3 more. Oh, good, here's my strength trait. Now I can equip this thing. And I think it just is very, very clever. The next thing that I really like is there's another optional module, which is the unique dice. And each different ability, skill that you use has a different color die on there. And each of those dice have different symbols on them. So when you're rolling them, it gives you more options that you can play with, more things that you can do. And for my money, I think it makes the game a little bit easier. But, you know, some people may disagree with me on that. You may agree with me. I don't know. I also really like the terrain. I think the terrain is very, very cool. It can be game breaking in either direction if you use it at the right time. And so I really do like the terrain module. The next thing that I really like is there's a huge variety of characters and a huge variety of fun art. In fact, every single one of the characters you see on the screen right now, you can flip them over and you have the opposite sex on there. Well, that's not totally true. I think there's 1 or 2 that you can't flip over, but I suspect eventually all of them will be able to be either gender up. It's completely up to you, which I think is very, very cool. But I think the art is fun. I think the abilities are fun. I think the flavor text that you have on all the different regions is fun and clever, and it is a funny game if you take the time to go look at it and dig into it. And it should go without saying, but I also really like the variety of the enemies. I mean, there's just so many of them. They are all so very different. It's just great. So, what are my quibbles with the game? The first one is, this is probably the hardest game I have ever played, period. It is really hard. Streamline Matt came over the other night, we played twice. First time, we died on the second fight. Second time, we had a better idea what we were doing. We didn't even get out of the first fight. It is just a really, really punishingly hard game. And along with that, even though you do have some good control over the abilities that you're taking, it's totally possible that the bad guys that you draw simply are made to kill the way you've built your characters, nothing that you can do. That's just the way it goes. It may be that you just can't get any gear that you can use because you don't have the right traits to be able to equip them. It might be that you just can't get any coins because every time you roll on the loot chart, you don't get anything, or whatever it may be. And so it is possible to just get smashed again and again and again in this game. The next quibble that I have is, it seems like that was recognized, that a lot of people think the game is too hard. So there is a way you can take the overpowered traits, which is kind of like baby mode, because these traits are just ridiculously overpowering. And while I like that, I won't lie, it is fun to suddenly go, Like there's one that's called One Punch. You know, think One Punch Man. It just literally do 10 damage, and 10 damage is a huge amount of damage. But it made the game easy. And what I wish that there was is I wish that there was something in the middle of those two. Now, I suspect when I played with the overpowered traits, I was not using the terrain module because it's in some ways, sometimes it feels like it's just a die tax. You got to put it out there so you don't get hurt. But I wish that there was something in the middle that was not easy mode and was not punishingly hard. Because don't get me wrong, I will play this game. If a copy comes back to me, I will play this. But I'm not going to play it all the time because I want a challenge, but I don't always want to get my face kicked in. The thing is, when I play the game, sometimes you want to be able to win and not feel like you've been being wailed on with the pillowcase full of doorknobs for the last hour and a half. And when you win this on hard mode, it kind of feels like that. It's getting boom, pounded on. So I think I wish that there was something in the middle there. And the last thing that I'll say that I wish was there is each of the tokens for the characters is simply a class symbol. I really wish that it had the art on the cards, on the token, and then again, double-sided, because the art is good. I would like to see it when it's out there. I know it's very abstracted, and the minions all are kind of abstracted, but I just think that would be really, really cool. So there you have it, folks. That is Assault on Doomrock. I think this is a game that obviously is not for the faint of heart. It is exceedingly hard. It's exceedingly rewarding as you go through. The dice placement's a lot of fun. All of those things are fun. It's just going to kick you in the teeth over and over again. This is a game that kind of is off in its own genre to me. And to me, this scratches the same itch as Too Many Bones does. I mean, it plays very differently, but it has some of those same ideas, though Doomrock is significantly faster. A lot faster because you're probably going to lose really quickly, but all in all, this is a fun game. Like, I've been talking a lot about how hard it is, but a lot of people do really like that. And I think people who are looking for an extreme challenge will enjoy this. I think people who like dice chucking and dice placement, like all those games that have that Yahtzee mechanic, are really going to enjoy this. Especially because my understanding is they're actually working on a way to where you can actually just skip the adventure phase altogether and just go fight to fight to fight. How that'll work, I don't quite know. But sometimes you just want to jump in there and get into those fights because the fights are really fun. The adventure phase is enjoyable. Those fights, oh, those are fun. But there you have it, folks. That is Assault on Doomrock Ultimate Edition. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.